Alrighty, guys, another episode of Shellonomics, episode 5 of the Talking Vintage Toys with our main man, Josh Melchert. So, Josh, let's go ahead and tell us a little bit about 1992 and why this year is so special for the Turtle Vintage Toy line.
So 1992, 1991 is where the Ninja Turtles probably seen their biggest popularity spike, but because of, backflow and the need to get things done, whatever. 1992 is the year we see like the most releases, we see the most different subsets. They're just pushing out turtles left and right. And then you also got to remember that in 1992, they're still selling basically everything they sold in years past and the stuff from 1992. So it's not just 1992, but we see a ton of new lines, a ton of new ideas on the figures. Once again, we do some robbing from other toy lines to make something uniquely Ninja Turtles. And then what else do we do? 1992 brings us to the fifth anniversary of everything, I guess, as you would say it. That's where you see the collector's statue, and then you got the little badge on all the card backs for the fifth anniversary. So kind of a neat year. Like I said, Ninja Turtles really hits its stride and puts itself on top of the toy market as far as I'm concerned in 1992.
Oh, everybody my age, because I'm 40 right now. I think everybody except me. I don't know when that gold statue you talk about Leonardo was released, but I think it was everybody after me got that for a birthday gift at every kid's birthday party. That was the gift to get.
Yeah, I still got one in my collection. I think they're cool.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. All right, guys. So we're gonna do this similar to 1991 because, like me and Josh say, it's not that there's not much value. It's just in regards to we want to really just get to the basic assortment. We are going to burn through these variants real quick. So we have Turtle Games based on Olympics. We got Track and Field Leo, Super Swim and Raph, Hot Dog and Mike, Power Lift and Don, Smash and Bash and figures. These are like your karate chopping. Again, I would say it's probably similar to our Wacky Actions, right, Josh? Just really nothing special about those.
Bebop tends to be worth a little bit complete, and so does Rocksteady. Just nothing crazy, but Bebop does have a really cool punching bag there. It's like a little turtle stitched up, and it's his punching bag. So it's kind of neat. I used to like to hang one from my sewer when I displayed my sewer as like the turtles' workout room. But and then the Turtle Games, we do have multiple variants there in that subset. So every figure in that line, you could either the Olympic medals and then the numbers on their chest or back were either done with stickers or they were actually printed on the figure. So they can actually be like screen printed on the figure or stickers. So obviously somebody's going to say, well, mine doesn't have anything on it. Well, that just means yours used to be stickers and they peeled off. That does happen. Not a variant, just a little bit of damage to the figure. No price difference there. And then on the Leo, there's a pretty big variant because he was first released with just a shot put ball and became just like anything else we've heard about, a choking hazard. So the early release is just a shot put ball and then like a smaller discus. And then the later release has a two-piece shot put ball. It almost looks like a belly button ring or something. It's the closest thing I could describe it as, a barbell of sorts with lopsided, with one side bigger than the other, and then a smaller discus ring. So that one is worth a little bit more on the card. I'm not really sure. Loose, it's probably worth more too, just because how difficult it would be to find those little pieces loose, but not any crazy value. We're not talking like, thousands of dollars or anything here. We're talking 20, $30 all day.
That's how pretty much most of these lines are. We'll do a couple.
Absolutely.
We've got sewer spitting turtles. Now, these guys I thought were kind of cool to a degree as a kid. They're like little Squirtles of Pokemon. I mean, anything here? I know Raphael gets a little. Does he get a buddy or a bike? I forget this one a little bit.
He got a unicycle, yes.
That's right. Okay.
He gets a little cool bike. The big thing on the sewer spitting turtles is they all came with a little drink. Mike's is the little coconut with a straw on the thing. But the other three guys, Leo, Raph, and Don, their drinks are very small. Raph and Don's being very, very small. Those can be fetch a pretty penny if you have to buy them by themselves. So make just like I always say, make sure you're buying them complete. Otherwise, you're just going to spend a lot of extra money for no reason tracking down accessories.
Yeah, it's a good point. And these are some good. I mean, again, loose, incomplete, you can get maybe for like $3 or $5. But as Josh says, I think it's just a lot easier to buy these guys complete. That way, you don't have to go hunting and pecking.
If your goal is to have them complete, just buy them complete.
Yep. Especially because, like you say here too, I mean, when you factor in, unless you have a store that's nearby you, you're going to be spending money like 2 or 3 times in regards to the shipping if you're buying these from multiple users. So your figure's going to be $5 plus, anywhere between $4 to $6 shipping. Every accessory is going to be $4 to $6 shipping. So, like you're saying, eventually a $30 complete figure could cost you $50 or $60 depending on how you're going about getting it. So, appreciate that advice. Let's see who else we got here for some more combos. We can go into the Wacky Wild West Turtles, which we talked about in an earlier episode, guys. No disrespect, we really don't think we needed any of these kind of toys. I think they were just. Can you explain why Playmates just went happy with these? I mean, Donatello's got a candy cane as a pipe for this.
These are the culturally inappropriate turtles,
yes,
is what this should have been called.
Pretty much.
But they are neat. Bandito Bash and Bike is very sought after. That's $100+ figure right now on eBay.
Wow.
Chief Leo with all his feathers and stuff can get up there. But each one of those is like, probably Leo and Don in the $50 to $60 range. Raph gets up there a little higher in that $60 to $70 range, and then Mikey in the $100 range. Couple different variants on Mike. There's gold tooth, green tooth, maybe something else. I can't really exactly remember there, but there's definitely a couple variants there. And then I don't believe there is on any of the other figures.
Okay, so those are a little pricier then too. Again, you want to make sure with the Donatello that he's got that mouthpiece in there, that candy cane.
Cane, yep. Because you're never gonna be able to replace that.
Yeah, exactly. Just like his farmer, the farmer ones we'll get into in years to come. So another bunch we can kind of just blaze through here would be the Mutant military. Now, these ones I think have a little bit of value. We actually can talk about that real quick. You can explain what happened to our buddy Navy SEAL Mike, but feel free to talk about these for a while here. The Mutant military.
Okay.
I like Bebop Rock Studies.
This is a line that used to be very sought after.
Yep.
Because it's the second series of it, and the figures are very neat. But they did re-release them recently, and I have noticed a little bit of a price drop on the vintage ones because they made the modern ones look so similar that a lot of collectors are just happy with them, and they don't want to pay the extra for the vintage. So, I mean, I get it. Navy SEAL Mike used to be $100+ figure. Now it's probably right around $100 figure. He's got 2 small grenades that are pretty hard to find. Then you got, let's see, that Leo, Cookie Cavalry Leo, once again, that's a $100 figure complete. Lots of accessories, belt. On the Leo, he has an arrow going through his hat. You want to make sure you got both sides of it, because a lot of times I see one side or both sides broken off there. Private Porknose Bebop and Dimwit Doughboy Rocksteady. They're based on like World War II soldiers. I believe Bebop might even be based on a German soldier, which once again we get into like, why did we need that? But
agreed. Yeah, and these guys usually have good value, right? Didn't Bebop and Rocksteady? I mean, they all kind of had good value, but I thought.
They're probably in the $80 to $100 range. Complete at least 70. I'm not positive on that, but
right.
The little soda grenades and that little pistol for Bebop are pretty hard to get and very sought after. So Don, and later in 1994 or 95 we get the white belt release which is $300-400 figure. The black belt still $120 figure in the vintage line because of all the little camouflage pieces that are involved in it. But yeah, a white belt, which was re-released on the purple card back, that's a $400 figure all day. And then we got Yankee Doodle Ref. That one, another one, $60 to $80 figure probably.
Jeez. Let's see. And then we've got our Wacky Bodacious Birthday Turtles. Now, I like these guys to a degree. I'm gonna ask you a question on, I liked all these figures. I thought they were cool just for, a lot of Facebook groups use these ones when somebody's birthday's around in the group. And feel free to talk about these ones for a little bit, Josh. And also, if you were the Playmates director here, I guess the creative toy director, what would you do for a Donatello? It's kind of sad he didn't make it. 3 out of 4 guys.
Don could have been a lot, but it's also like, what else are you gonna make? You got a magician, you got a clown, and you got the party guy, What else was there to birthday when we were kids? Like that you could like make a figure out of? Did he make animal balloons? Is that what Don does? The animal balloon making machine?
With all the parodies we've had, that could have been one.
So anyway, like very cool line. This line, this is how I feel about it. So on the card back, it had a to and from spot for birthday parties and shit. When your aunt calls your mom and says, "Oh, what does Mikey want for his 9th birthday?" Oh, he's in the Ninja Turtles, and you go up there and they got a birthday one. It says to and from. I don't even have to buy a box. I can just write it right there on the card. This was like the free gift. This was like to help grandparents and uncles and aunts out around birthdays. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and you can get the balloons with Mikey. I thought those were kind of cool accessories too, man.
Absolutely, everything was cool. Mikey was on stilts. I thought that was a really cool feature of an action figure. Raph, he had the little bunny rabbit pop out of his hat. And then, Raph the Magnificent, pretty expensive figure. He's got these little bitty playing cards that come with him. He holds them in his sleeve of his little jacket. Just those playing cards I know sell for about $40. Wow. One accessory. So,
holy crap.
That's about $100. I think Raph's about $100 loose complete. Mikey and Leo are a little bit cheaper. They're probably more in the $30 to $40 range, $35. Cool figures though. Mikey throws a pie and his hand is set up to do it. So I always thought that was neat when I was a kid. Removable suspenders. That was kind of neat for a Ninja Turtle figure, part of his wardrobe, But yeah. And then what else do we got here? What's next?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mutation toys. I thought these were cool. Yeah, the Splinter becoming a model Yoshi. Yeah, Bebop and Rocksteady in human form. But Josh, tell us a little bit more about these guys.
Yeah, just like a lot of other things, they were just stealing from any other toy line that did well, and this is kind of like a Transformers spin-off, but Ninja Turtle versions. I thought they were really cool. I think the action on the Mutations Ninja Turtles, especially the Bebop and Rocksteady, and kind of shows what the Power Rangers became in a couple of years. Remember the head flip in Power Rangers? Yes. Obviously different companies, but the features and stuff we see, we got Transformer stuff there, we got future stuff showing Power Rangers stuff. So it's very cool to see some of that stuff. And like you said, the human version of Splinter was very cool to have. Bebop and Rocksteady as well, even though they weren't really accurate to the cartoon. We all know that. But definitely a cool line. Like you said, the little ooze can, I always thought was really cool when I was a kid. Most of the Mutations figures you can get around the $20 range. Complete for the Turtles is going to have that little bitty food can, so that's a tough find. So like I said, make sure if you're buying complete you got that. Variants, I don't think there's any variants on the Mutations Turtles. No,
just
that's my preference anyway.
And are these the first ones that had tails too? Remember they had the little tail in the back too.
Yeah, they did
PlayStation,
have
right?
the little tail there. Absolutely.
And is that a shout out? Because I remember in some documentaries they were supposed to have tails in like those prototypes a long time ago, right? Weren't they supposed to have
Yeah,
tails?
maybe it was just the first time they actually got to put it on there. I don't know. We don't really know, you know,
Yeah.
but definitely a neat feature. And the baby turtle, while a little bit cumbersome, big for a baby turtle, they were still very cool. It was neat to be able to do.
Yeah, I thought so too with the little feet. And just so it was, I mean, it
Yeah.
would have been nice if we had a retro mutagen gun, but we had so many guns we could have made one up anyways and just had to turn them into baby turtles. Like Shredder always wanted to do. He wanted to dine on turtle soup.
Absolutely.
All right. I want to save the movie guys for the end, like before we get to the basic. But there's two other pieces here. One is I guess it was just like a test of waters, so to speak. 'Cause they kind of did this with Shell Storage Don. According to the TMNT which is a site we all recommend for anybody who's a new, intermediate, or advanced collector, they have Cave Turtle Leo and his Dingy Dino. This is the first of the Dino series. So, what are your thoughts on this piece?
Okay, so in 1992, I believe two different boxes were released for Cave Leo. Both of these two, I think, had gray medallions. One had a dinosaur with a white belly, and one did not. If I'm re- if I'm remembering that correctly. And then in 1993, you get the black medallion Leo when it was re-released with everybody else. But yeah, kind of like the similar thing. They released it's something that did well, and then I don't know if they already had plans for the other cave ones and just kind of put him in there again, or if, they said, hey, this cave one's doing good, let's do more of that, and they just did it again. Not really sure there, but it worked, and I personally remember having Cave Mike as a kid, and it was one of my favorite figures. So, I don't know. Just definitely cool figures. Definitely cool idea. We all loved dinosaurs when we were kids.
Yep.
As '80s kids, '90s raised. Uh, everybody had a favorite dinosaur. Mine's Stegosaurus. I mean and my favorite turtle is Mikey. So that combo just was perfect.
Oh man, for
So
sure.
I thought it was really cool. And like you said, I'm not sure if it was a testing the waters thing or if hey, this one did well, let's do some more.
Yeah. So this is
Either
one.
way, we got more the next year.
Yeah, and I like that, so I thought they were cool. And then we got another giant here now. Again, I guess I don't know if this was a test or maybe they felt they didn't get a birthday toy. Giant Slam Dunkin' Don.
Absolutely. Giant Slam Dunkin' Don's one of the more sought after of the Giants. Near impossible to loose complete. Very hard to find in the package too. Giant Slam Dunkin' Don's ball is one of those grail items for loose collectors. It's so this one does so well because it's a giant. It's got the 23 for the Michael Jordan. Everybody knows the era and stuff like that. So you hit a lot of different collectors markets with one figure on that one. Uh, I mean, loose complete. That's got to be $1,000+ figure. I sold one years ago. I can't even remember what it sold for, but I want to say it was over $1,000 back then, so that's got to be a pretty high dollar figure now. Maybe even 1,500. Not positive on
Yeah.
that, but high dollar for sure. I know just a loose giant isn't worth that. But it's all in the ball. It's all in the completeness. I think loose giants are like 250 just for the Slam Dunk and Don figure itself. Obviously, that's not in perfect condition or anything like that, but yeah, very sought after, very cool figure.
Now, for those listening on Spotify and YouTube for the first time, if you have the little figure, he also has a garbage can. So, Josh, can you just confirm again that all the Giant Don needs, if you're trying to complete him, is just his giant basketball and that's it?
Yep, just a green basketball.
Wow, he's just like Mondo Gecko, that one of the more easier figures
Yep,
to complete.
just a one accessory guy. Yep,
Yeah.
that one's pretty easy, but like I said, near impossible to find. That one's hitting the lotto. You pretty much get to name your price if you're selling one of those. So.
Oh yeah. Now here's another piece that was worth more before the reissues, and these are your movie star turtles. I always thought these guys were cool because My brother and I, we used to make Frankenstein turtles. We would take an arm from each turtle and make like an ultimate turtle. You could pop their heads off. Let's talk about these guys for a little bit here, Josh.
Okay, so movie star turtles were really cool to me as well. I think it was the soft rubbery texture that really got me on them. I thought it felt cooler. They were a little more difficult to stand because of that, but they were very true to the movie, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean? They had the spots on them, like in the movies, and blah blah blah, and the details were beautiful. Raph had that little crack in his shell, and they came with cool weapons from the second movie. Mike comes with his sausage links. Raph comes with a yo-yo. Don comes with a fire extinguisher like they used in the second movie. And which one does Leo come with? Oh, the foam club thing that he knocks him with in the beginning. So I mean, very cool. They had the bandanas on the back that were like not technically removable, but they were a different piece, so they had 3 dimensions and were kind of neat there. The belts were very realistic and definitely more movie like. They held they wrapped around the turtle the same way as they did in the movie. They held the weapons the same way they did in the movie. Also came with a little thing of ooze, just like the one in the movie, which I thought was cool. Uh, so once again, yeah, the movie stars, when I first started collecting, they were gaining some value. And then the first set of re-releases came out, and then the knockoffs came out, and then the second set of releases came out. So you can get a complete movie star turtle now pretty cheap, $30 ish. But they did have the 94, 95 re-releases of these with the different colored weapons, which is going to be like pink for Leo, yellow for Don, green for Mikey, blue for Raph. Those ones are very valuable now. I think, the last Don DeCell complete sold for like $700 or $800 with the yellow accessories. Mikey's more than that. Mikey's going to be your hardest to find in that set. Raph being the easiest for whatever reason. I don't know why. That's what I've noticed. But even a loose complete Raph with the blue accessories is, $300 or more, I believe.
Ooh, wow. And it just again now I don't have the reissues, but is there any difference in those compared to like the ones that we grew up with?
Yes, there's something with the bandana, or maybe all the bandanas. Maybe they only use one mold for all the. I'd have to go back and like look through that and do some digging, but there's definitely a difference in at least one figure, and maybe it's Leo, or maybe they used somebody's bandana for 2 of the re-release figures. I can't remember exactly what it was, but me and John Coleman had talked about that one time, and I definitely remember him telling me something.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. All right.
And maybe it's that in the first package it was in up pointing up, and in the second package it was in pointing down. I can't really remember there, but there's something going on there besides the weapons. But they're very, very sought after, those colored weapons ones.
I didn't even know about those. Again, another tip there, courtesy of our good friend Josh. All right, we'll keep with the movie ones as we start dipping into the basic assortment. So we've got Movie Star Foot Soldier, which I thought was awesome. So true to the movie. You got Movie Star Splinter as well. It was just kind of like almost like a furry little pet there. We can go for those two at a 1-2 punch.
Okay. So Movie Star Foot Soldier is one of my favorite figures in the vintage line. It's one of the only. It's the only figure that I army build.
Oh, you still do army build them now?
Yeah. I got a little shelf of them out in my shop. It's not anything I actively buy, but I never sell them. And because I'm an avid buyer and seller, I just come across more than most people. So them and their accessories just never get sold. I got a nice little jar of accessories, and I don't know. I probably got close to 20 figures out on a shelf in the garage. Like I said, it's cool to me because the movie, I wish they were black instead of that grayish color like the bootleg ones. Like, I don't know why they made the bootleg ones right and not the ones that they fucking released. So, but it is what it is. Splinter, same way. Splinter you could actually get furry or non-furry. So
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah. So
Okay.
and then they also have one called the tooth version and the no tooth version. I want to say it's with fur and with the tooth is the one that's the hardest to find. Not really sure on value on those. I can tell you just a regular one. Uh, the foot soldier, $20 complete. Splinter, 20 to 25. He does. Splinter has a lot of accessories. So you got his cane, his bow and arrow, his robe, his belt, his throwing star, his ooze can, and his cane. So one of the most accessoried figures there in the vintage line. A lot of stuff to keep track of.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got that coat again. Like you said, that little jacket, it's always tough to get to as he's got his white and orange little belt here. So, all right. And then as you call it, I guess, the year of the April, as it is April Fool's today as we're recording this. So you got three different April figures here. Let's talk a little bit about the Barbie wannabe and the other two.
Okay, so we got April the Ravishing. That's the one with the real life like hair and the removable skirt, which I thought was very weird. Never had any of these figures as a kid, none of these Aprils, thank God. Uh, the Ravishing Reporter does have, or the Ninja Newscaster does have a variant. No, that's the Ravishing Reporter. Does have a variant. You can get brunette hair, or red hair, or brown hair. Then you got Ravishing Reporter, which is kind of like a cave April, for lack of a better term. They actually reused that mold when they released Cave April, so it's the same mold just with some different colors. And then the other one we got was April 2, which April 2 is actually kind of a cool figure. For the vintage line, it's neat. She actually gets the coolest pistol of the whole vintage line. It's the only like semi-realistic looking pistol in the Ninja Turtle line. She gets a microphone, some belts. I mean, a camcorder that's kind of cool and kind of like the one she used in the cartoon. So I thought that was cool. And fun fact about April 2, they had plans to release her with a like a real coat, kind of like the undercover turtles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like almost like a short bomber jacket. It never made it past prototype stage, but I always thought that was neat. I've seen that prototype concept, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. So for me, I don't know, again, the value of this, but I always saw the April Ravishing Reporter in a lot of toy stores when I was starting to collect more in the, teens of the 2000s. I thought it was a very cheap in regards to if you were a collector who wanted a Mitten box, you could, or a Mint on card.
Still in the card. I think I just bought one for like $20.
Yeah, just for and so if somebody wants just to say
it's
you
on
have
the card.
Yeah, exactly. That's not our cup of tea, but again, if you want a vintage turtle figure, this is probably one of the cheaper ones you can get out there. And I guess just your own opinion. Do you think this is pretty much the Toon version of April? Because again, that's going to be in another year, but I don't think there was a Toon Burn, a Toon Irma, and a Toon Vernon. And I mean, is this, you think?
A lot of people call the green suit April the Toon April.
Oh, okay, that's a good point too.
Because it came with the Channel 6 news van and kind of all the Toon figures are advertised on the back or whatever. But either or, I mean, definitely could be used in the place of. Definitely has a similar vibe, not quite as like, because the Toon line is kind of like
Yeah.
Like Irma's got gum on her clothes and Vern's got toilet paper stuck to his foot and like a sandwich in his hand or whatever.
Yeah, which is no need for that because he wasn't doing that in the show. He wasn't hawking down burgers. He was so.
Yeah. So yeah, 3 Aprils that never sold well. There's still a ton of them in the package. They made 3 figures that nobody ever wanted.
Yeah, pretty much right there. And then speaking of another one now, I don't know why they made this one, but it almost looks Rock and Roll Mondo Gecko. It's kind of like the Space Usagi. I really don't care. I mean, if you're a diehard Mondo fan, you get a bonus, but I could live without this guy.
Yeah, well, a lot of people like putting him with the Rock and Roll party bus, the one that turns into a stage, and then
Oh
you take
yes.
Mondo Gecko
Okay.
and the four turtles that are from the rock and roll line, and you make a little band. He does come with a little guitar and a little hippie sign, a little flower power sidekick. The sidekick that he has is probably one of the cooler ones of the vintage line.
Yeah.
And his skateboard is that like guitar scooter skateboard thing this time, which is kind of, I thought it was a neat concept. Not done particularly well, but a neat concept.
Oh yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's pretty much all we need to say about him.
Yep.
So now we're getting into some of the cooler figures here. It's still actually that you never. None of these guys were in anything except for video games. So we'll do a little video game pop here. Scale Tail was in the third Game Boy game. So let's talk a little bit about Scale Tail here.
Scale Tail, I mean, based off a Cobra Snake, very cool figure, articulated tail. He's got a hood that kind of comes off and like a tongue that was attached to it. Weapons are cool. He's got a backpack and a couple guns and a whip. Uh, I think it's a very cool figure. Nice bright 90s colors. Uh, Different movement, different size compared to the other figures when sitting on a shelf with the collection. So it kind of gives some contrast. Uh, Kind of a high dollar figure, probably $75, $80 figure complete.
Jeez, you don't have to. Actually, no. This guy actually in an episode? Murdude. They had some
I
like
believe
Atlantis.
Murdude, yes. Murdude was in an episode.
Okay, it was in the Atlantis episode with Bebop like being the king, like the imposter king. Okay, let's talk about
Yes.
Murdude for a bit. I thought he was kind of cool too. The way he almost was like the Hasbro wrestling figures. The way he was kind of built.
Yes. Murdude's pretty neat. They pulled him off well to make him like match up with the turtles. Like they pulled off a merman that could still stand up on its own and still definitely be a merman. Well, starfish and a trident, a gun, and then a swordfish sword, which is just funny and cool.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely cool. The design's awesome. Again, really cool colors, like a almost metallic bluish color armor and fins. It's got a cool shoulder pad thing going on. Uh, Definitely a cool figure. Definitely Aquaman vibes mixed with a fish.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what kind of fish, but I think it's a really cool figure and right again in the $50 to $65 range complete.
Damn, yeah. And now we go into another guy who made a video game appearance here. He was in the Nintendo Tournament Fighters. He was the guy you fight before Shredder, Hothead.
Hothead, yeah. He technically, I think, like he made a semi episode appearance, like, but I don't know if he was actually named like as the dragon. Blah blah blah. I'm not really remembering that great, I guess. But the figure is really cool. His neck stretches, as like a dragon's neck, it like can lower into his body and then pull out a little bit more. He's got a really cool helmet that fits over his head really nice. His weapon would be used again in movie 3 April and Winged Warrior Dawn and Shogun Shredder.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Playmates is known for reusing those weapons mold. They did some different colors, but it was originally his. The staff with the short sword on it, and then he has another sword. Very cool figure, nice bright red with a couple shoulder armor pieces and then some nice greens. They had a couple different original color designs for him in the hard copy stage, so I believe there's 2 different paints, maybe even 3 him in the final hard copy stage before they picked what they were going to do. So cool figure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we've got this one. I didn't know it was in the Turtle. I thought it was a Power Ranger toy just because there's an episode with Zach and he fights something that kind of looks like good old Lionheart over here. King Lionheart. Check that.
Yeah, King Lionheart. This is one of those typical Playmates designs. I believe he has one animal, one human foot in a boot. Same thing with his hands or whatever. He's a king lion, just like every king symbol was a lion in every movie we watched when we were kids about ancient England or, medieval England. So the figure fits right in. He wears purple, the color of royalty, purplish blue. He's got the gold weapons, the little crown on his head. It's just an easy win for the guys that were creating them. This is another one where they had a couple different concepts for the color. I think they had a red and yellow and silver concept for him instead of that blue and purple color they have that he was released. Very cool hard copies if you ever get a chance to see pictures of them.
All right, John, we've got 3 left. I'm going to give you a little pop quiz. You got a 1 in 3 chance to see if you get this one right. So we're on the TMNT Toys website. Just be a fun little name that toy, because this toy's favorite food is pizza flavored swamp grass.
Pizza flavored swamp grass.
Yeah, 1 of 3 guesses, because we're in the 92 toy line.
I'm not even looking at the list, but
okay. Starts with an M. I believe he's from Canada.
Oh, Imani Moose?
Yeah, there you go. Imani Moose's favorite food is pizza flavored swamp grass.
That is odd.
Yeah.
Imani Moose, this is, right along the lines with King Lionheart. It's a Canadian Mountie that's a moose mutant human. 1 foot's moose, 1 foot's human. He has a very cool sidekick, little Bucky the Beaver guy. This one, like I said, the bright red, he's a pretty sought after figure. A lot of people like him. Got to look out and make sure his antlers aren't all scuffed up, because they stick out so far that they tend to have all the paint rubbed off of. But that's one of those ones that's like a $75 figure, 75 to 100 loose complete.
Yeah, and speaking of stuff falling apart, let's go with Dr. L, because if you're looking at this guy for the first time, you may think he's busted already with one of his tusks being removed.
Yep. Dr. L is one of my favorite figures from the vintage line. I think it's one of the most well done. So he's an elephant mutant voodoo doctor guy from Africa-ish, I'm guessing. He's got a really cool mask, really cool shield. The spear goes into the shield almost like a Zulu type thing. And then he's got bone nunchuck. He's got an arrow broken off in the leg. He's got a cool elephant snout, 1 tusk. That really cool headpiece thing with the feathers or whatever on it. Super cool figure, kind of larger than most figures, almost on the tattoo size. So he's got some real weight to him. You gotta, when you're getting this one, you want to make sure that arrow piece isn't broken off, and his trunk is always missing. You see him in a lot of lots missing a trunk. You're not going to be able to find one of those, so just buy him with the trunk.
Yeah, and that headgear sometimes too, I've seen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Too. All right, so we couldn't get Metallica, but we got Metalhead and we've got Anthrax to bring us home for this basic assortment here.
Absolutely. Anthrax is another one of them pretty sought after ones. Perfect combination. He's an ant. Bad guy, but he's also an executioner. He comes with an axe, a ball and chain, and a mace club. On Anthrax, you want to make sure he's got all his little antenna, snout flare. Super cool figure, very well done. Another one with different paint schemes in the design phases. His little club would be reused in all the Turtle Troll line and as well Warrior line. So that's another one of them weapon molds that got used over and over again.
Jeez. I stand corrected. He was actually in Night of the Rogues. Again, I don't know if you ever seen an episode, but
that's right, Night of the Rogues. Yes, he was.
He's with Scumbug and a whole bunch of other dudes. Chrome Dome,
Flash, and all them. Yep.
Yeah, they got they're stacked in that one. So, and you do make a good point too. Now, how many are those little not whiskers, but
you got two antenna and two nose pieces.
Okay.
So there's antennas here, and then there's little L things here.
Okay, yeah, he's another figure. When I was collecting back, he was really hard to find complete. And again, you'd rather buy him complete. If you can, spend the extra dollars. If you're somebody who wants them, in a bargain bin, fine. But I'm with Josh on this one. Get them complete.
Yeah, it's going to be just so tough to find those little antennas and nose pieces that you're gonna pay too much to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Unless you're just cool with having a bare bones one, and then good for you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. More power to you. So, speaking of the, money and stuff, we're going to end this episode here with, let's talk about a budget, Josh. So what I want to do is tips for a budget and something you learned by, not as a mistake, but again, just so what you went through so our viewers don't have to in regards to collecting on a budget.
Okay, so the budgeting, I found when I first started collecting, uh, I did really well, just like one figure a paycheck out of the first, 4 years of the line. If you're spending $20 or $30, because that's what you spend on most of them. So you find those figures and just buy them complete. That is the biggest thing. I bought so many figures 5, 6, and 7 times because I would buy one that was bare bones, and then I'd upgrade it and get one accessory, and then I'd track down another accessory. And then I'd finally end up buying a complete one, and then I'd have to sell the one I'd built. It was a nightmare. So as far as budgeting, I think if you're a new collector, just keeping it to like one figure a week or one figure a paycheck is a very reasonable thing to do, and you can get really far and have a lot of fun. After that, people don't like hearing this, but save up for one of those expensive figures, even if it means just taking that $20 a week. And here's something I did. I would take it and just transfer it into my PayPal account and then not use it. So then it was just sitting there. And then once I got it up to $100 or $200, that $20, then I would buy, your higher dollar figure. And that's just how I did it. It was a way for me to put money back. And then I also, any of the money I made selling figures went into that PayPal account. So I got to spend that on new figures.
Now, let's talk a little about that too, because John Coleman, when I had him on for one of our early episodes, also said there's a difference between, buying to collect and buying to sell, and especially when it comes to budgeting. So how did you go about your collection? Did you ever try to say, hey, look, I see this guy like online here. I know I could probably sell him for $15. He's on eBay for $7. Is it worth trying to play around with those? And how do you not over exalt yourself for like, oh crap, now I have all these toys that aren't selling and I want to buy more, but I can't because I got to get rid of these first?
Well, everybody wants to be a reseller because the reseller has all the go through his hands, right? So, but realistically, like reselling is a huge. Reselling means, and this is from somebody who does a lot of it, it means going to the post office every single day. It means packaging up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 packages every single day. It means entering those tracking numbers into those people. It means dealing with anything that happens as far as sellers that say, oh, my package isn't here. It's only been 2 days, and then you have to calm their fears that yes, you definitely did ship their package and it's still on their way. But if you're collecting, that's the thing. If you're reselling, you have to be much tighter with your budget because you have to be able to have that profit margin or at least that break-even point. When you're buying for your collection, you don't really have the same kind of budget because you're buying it with the intention of keeping it for at least the foreseeable future. That's what I consider collecting. I was always buying as a collector, but I always resold doubles or anything like that because I always loved getting a good deal. So if I could buy a whole lot that it had 6 figures in it I needed and 20, I would buy it every time and try to make my money back on the 6 figures I did need.
No, it makes sense to me. I guess everyone always has their exception to the rule. So what advice would you give? I'm just going to give a little role play situation here. You've got, well, let's just talk about this. Even though this is not the vintage toy line, but it is a vintage feel. NECA just re-released their movie set. I'm sure you've seen it with the glow-in-the-dark Splinter. Now, that set ran for $160. I bought one because I don't have any of the NECA toys except for the 4, I call them the gangster undercover turtles from the cartoon. So for me, I had money saved up and it's like, you know what, I'm going to get this. But the reason I'm asking you is, again, you want to do your homework, but opportunities like this are going to be kind of, hard to come by. Like, let's just say again, let's do this budget real quick. Your advice here. So actually, I'll give you a better scenario. You're at a Comic-Con, and you've got, $150, and you see that Grail, and for some reason that guy is selling that piece for $175. Now, as a collector, this is for your collection, not a resale. This is for collection only. As a collector, you've seen that on eBay for $300, $350. So how do you go about this if you're like, I'm breaking my rule here? Like, how do you go about that? Like, is it worth buying? Because you may not see that toy again, but you also want to make sure you're not like, oh, now I can't pay my, car insurance because I spent on that toy. So just a little more advice, because again, you've been somebody who's been doing this for a long time, and we're just trying to help, our new viewers out there just to, so they don't have to go down that same road.
Absolutely. Well, you're always going to have to be semi-flexible if you have goals in your collecting. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
like some people collect with no reason, no real goal. They just buy stuff. And then when you were like me, I had goals. I wanted to do all of these figures, and it was every figure from 88 to 93, and then it was every from 88 to 7, and then it was all the minis, and then it was all the giants, and then it was all the vehicles, and then I needed boxes for all those vehicles. And so I went through a whole bunch of different goals when I was collecting. So I always had to keep that price thing flexible, because some things just don't come up for sale often. If you're looking for Leo's Bodacious Buggy with the box, there's not always one of those on eBay. You can't just go buy it. So if one comes up for sale, and it's $40 more than what you think it, but you also think, but I've been watching for 12 months now, and this is the first one I've seen sell. It's probably worth spending an extra $40 just to get it.
Yeah, I've been there.
You're gonna be able eventually, if you're buying it as a collector, if you sell in 10 years, paying that extra $40 isn't gonna matter, because it's gonna be worth more. It's gonna be worth more than that. Even if you're only keeping it for 5 years, paying that $40 probably isn't gonna matter, because it's probably gonna, just inflation alone will probably bring up the value enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I call that the living on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a week. Just I'll cut on my groceries for a while. I don't need that. I don't need that lobster or that fancy schmancy meal. I can live on some PB and J or a frozen dinner.
No McDonald's this month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, save your Starbucks and all that stuff for later. Exactly.
I had Starbucks for the first time last week.
Well, is it going to be a new habit? That's gonna.
I got a black coffee. I got a black coffee. I ordered a large. You're not supposed to do that at Starbucks, I guess. They don't sell larges, she told me.
Oh yeah, it's a venti or it's a different. It's like a special language or something.
That may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Same here.
I looked at her and I was like, well, in Litchfield, I was in Litchfield, and I was like, if in Litchfield, I don't know, if somebody orders a large, probably.
Yeah,
it was the worst black coffee I ever had in my life, and I love black coffee.
Oh wow, that's funny. Well, good to know that we're both. Well, that makes two of us, Josh. I mean, once in a blue moon, I'll get a Starbucks. If somebody I'm with, has it, I'll get one of those sugary drinks. But yeah, I was never a coffee guy.
My wife got some kind of funky, flowery,
whatever it is, smoke something. Yeah. So that's a figure a day though, man. I'd say it's a good time. That's a reissue figure right there, or a Starbucks beverage. The choice is yours. One last question, and then we'll plug in your social. So just with budgeting and collecting. So I don't know if I asked you this one before, because this one is, you can't be a hard ass to the seller. Because just an example, you've got a toy, you're at your flea market. We have a big one here in Illinois. Wolf's is coming to town. I love that flea market. I don't know if you've been to that one, but that's where I'm at. John Coleman. It's a real nice flea market. It's the whole Allstate Arena parking lot on Sundays. Only $3 admission. So you're there. Let's just say we've covered these 92. Let's just say, again, for the sake of argument, she got Monty Moosh, said he's about $80 complete. So the gentleman has them there, we'll just say for $60. And you look on eBay, or I'm sorry, if he is $80 complete, you see on eBay it's $80, and he's also at the site for $80. Now, some guys try to talk to the seller and saying, hey, eBay's got sales tax. eBay has fees. Why is it still selling here for 80 when it should be 70 here? So how do you can try and talk these guys down, but what is your strategy, I guess, if you don't mind sharing,
Okay.
trying to talk somebody down by not saying, hey, Mr. Einstein, I know what I'm doing, even though he's the seller. Because, the seller holds all the power, holds all the cards.
Absolutely. What I always try to do, and this works a lot, is I just make them, I'll either pay their price or I'll pay their price the first time.
Okay.
And then if they have more stuff, I just keep coming back to them and eventually try to work on some stuff. Or, as Frank from American Pickers always used to say, the old bundle deal is always very nice. If you can find a few things from the same seller and throw them together and try to knock a few bucks off the price. But when I make an offer, you don't ever want to just offer them 50% of what they're asking. If you have to offer 50% what they're asking, somebody's price is way too far off. A 10% off offer almost always gets accepted. So if it's $100 and I say I'll give you 90, they almost always say yes. I generally do that. If I'm trying to make a deal with you, it's because I want what you have. Otherwise, I wouldn't be trying to make this deal. So I kind of want it to close. So, just try to be reasonable is the biggest thing. Understand that they have to make money too, to keep the doors open, to keep showing you new cool shit every week.
Yep. No, I like how you said that, Josh. I like how you didn't have to go into mansplaining or saying, hey, this figure goes for X on this. Like, no.
Sure.
It's my figure. I don't care what it is. This is what I want to sell it for. And no, I appreciate that advice. Josh, another year in the books. I believe we're almost halfway done with our run here with 92. Can you tell everybody if they want to get some more turtle knowledge, where they can find you?
Absolutely. Josh Melchert's Visual Guide to Vintage TMNT on Facebook, and Melchert's Guide on eBay. My store is currently undergoing a revamp, so every listing is currently down. That'll be back up sometime in the next couple of weeks with a whole new everything redone. We're getting rid of all the old stuff. I'm gonna bulk sell it off and then start over with all new inventory.
Oh wow! Okay, all right.
Well, I've been doing it for about 4 years, and there's like 2 or 3 items that have been since I lowered the price down to $1, and they still don't sell. So I'm just gonna bundle a whole bunch of that stuff up together and get rid of it because let's just be honest, some things still don't sell, even though they have Ninja.
Yeah, it's I feel you on that one, man. Like, and again, it's just a different world now. Everybody with the reissues, the vintage there's still people like us who love them. If I see one, I get excited for them. But the reissues, I think they kind of killed it a little bit now. For at least the commons and uncommons, they're not popping as much. It used to get easy, $2, $3. I mean, bare bone figures were going for $2, $3, $6, and now, unless it's the '88 originals that are either a soft head or an original with like a couple weapons, you're not getting much for them anymore. So I guess if it's a buy-sell market, it could be time to buy them again. Maybe they'll pop again, but I think me and you both got in and out at the right time. But with those bundles, it's probably best to do those then instead of spending $1 plus shipping. Now you can get 5 of them plus shipping. So
absolutely.
All right, Josh. We'll see you for 1993 in the near future. Thanks for being here as always.
Absolutely, and enjoy and remember to collect them all.